All right, so share this video if it gets good to you. I just want to help y'all understand something. You cannot blame your parents for the reason why you are dysfunctional as an adult. You cannot blame your childhood. And I know this is something that some people might not agree with me, or this is something that people like, well, you don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I had to endure as a child. You don't know what happened to me. You don't know how bad my parents was. You don't know what my uncle did. You don't know what my grandparents did. You don't know how dysfunctional my family is. Hell, Alexis. What we got to understand is we cannot continue to make excuses on why we are dysfunctional adults. Whatever happened to you in your childhood, when you became an adult, it's up to you to get rid of whatever toxic things that happened in your childhood. It is now up to you. You cannot continue to blame your family and your parents for what they did not do. For their inconsistencies when you were a child. It makes no sense for a grown adult, hey Cindy, for a grown adult to continue to blame what happened to them in their childhood for the reason why they can or cannot be great as an adult. We have to grow up and stop making excuses on why we are dysfunctional. You know what people used to tell me? Your daddy not a daddy because he didn't have a daddy. Or your dad is not a good father to you because he didn't have a father figure. That's not an excuse for an adult. It does not matter what happened in your childhood. We have to get muster up and heal from whatever it is that has happened to us in our childhood, and stop making excuses on why, hey Precious, on why we are not the great adults that we were called to be. And so listen, I want to challenge everybody in this generation, in my generation, my age, older, hey Shaquan, to not continue to allow the dysfunction of our parents and the things that happened to us in the childhood, and allow that to stop us from being the adults that God has called us to be. Listen, stop blaming your parents. You grown now. Stop blaming your family. You grown now. Somebody who blames their parents for their downfalls make you mad today? No, Jessica, shut up. Okay. You stop blaming your parents. You know what? Nobody ever made an excuse for me. Nobody ever made an excuse for me. Nobody ever said, well, give her a pass or let her slide. Nobody made an excuse for me. Listen, nobody taught me how to pay my own bills. Nobody taught me how to save money. Nobody taught me how to build credit. Listen, I had to learn those things on my own. But guess what? I'm not looking at people to make excuses for me. Nobody made an excuse for me. I'm grown. I'm an adult. These are things that and let me help you out. Some things you're going to have to teach yourself. There's some things your parents just did not teach you, or just not going to teach you, or just not going to inform you about. So you have to teach yourself, but you cannot continue to blame them. So what? They were dysfunctional when you were a child. You can't keep saying, well, I'm like this because my mom was like this, or I'm like this because I did not have a dad, or I'm like this because my family did this to me. Grow up, be mature, and I'm not telling you not to accept the fact that you have problems. What I'm saying is accept those things and stop making excuses for why you cannot be the great person that you were called to be. Exactly, excuses. Stop using your parents' insecurities and your parents' dysfunctional ways when you were a child. Stop using it as a crutch to be dysfunctional. You're dysfunctional at this point because you choose to be, not because of what your parents done to you, or not because the childhood you had. Listen, I know Tyler Perry was homeless. He didn't have it as a child, but guess what? He's the biggest African American we call it movie director now. Because he did not make excuses. He used what he went through to help him get to where he need to go. Stop making excuses. Hey, Jacoby. Stop blaming your parents for why you're dysfunctional. Some of y'all toxic just because you're toxic. You grown now. Some of y'all dysfunctional just because you choose to be. So when you notice that, hey, I have an issue, I have a problem, and the problem stemmed from my childhood, that's when you need to begin to not blame your parents, but begin to take ownership for who you are and what you have going on. You know, some of us just need a reality check. Hey, listen, I got a smart mouth because I'm defensive. Why am I defensive? Because I was talked about as a child. Oh, so let me go back to my childhood and recreate these memories so I can heal. Oh, okay. I'm insecure. I got low self-esteem. Why? Because when I was a child, I didn't have it. And so I looked at everybody else have the things that I aspired to have. And so now I have insecurities as an adult. And I'm not talking about me. I'm just saying we have to realize these things that we go through as an adult and stop blaming our people that raised us in the past for what we have going on, and start taking ownership so that we can heal as an adult. Again, people tell me, you can't blame your daddy for not being a daddy to you because he didn't have a daddy. That's not an excuse. He's an adult. Paul said, when I was a child, I act like a child, I talk like a child. But when I became an adult, I put away childish things. And let me tell you, it is very childish and childlike for us to continue to blame our childhood memories and histories on why we're a dysfunctional adult. So why do people keep calling me? Anyways, it is very dysfunctional for us to bring our childhood experiences into our adulthood and blame the reason why we're not successful adults on our childhood. So you heal from that. Get free from your childhood so you can be a successful adult. Stop blaming your mom. Okay, your mama was on drugs. Okay, your mama wasn't a good mama. Okay, you didn't have your daddy. Okay, your grandparents used to beat you. Okay, you didn't have it as a child. Okay, your parents weren't the best parents. Okay, you went through hell as a child. Stop blaming that on why you are a dysfunctional adult. Grow up and say, hey, if I didn't have it as a child, I'm going to make sure I have it as an adult. Hey, if I didn't show love as a child, I'm going to make sure, get shown love as a child, I'm going to make sure I'm going to show my kids love. Hey, if my parents weren't the best parents, I'm going to make sure I'm the best parents to my kids. We have to start thinking about things in a positive outlook, in a positive light. Hey, Poopy, so that we can stop making excuses. This is the most excuse-making generation ever. We making excuses on why we can't do nothing. So we sit in dysfunction and we allow our excuse to override our capabilities. You are capable of getting free. You are able of exactly. Excuses, choices. Thank you. It's a choice. It's not an excuse. You made a choice. Thank you, Jacoby. It's a choice. At this point, you have made a choice to be dysfunctional. All right. So stop using it as an excuse. Get free from your childhood. Get free from what your parents done to you. Get free from what your uncle done to you. Get free from whoever touched you. Get free from whoever drilled something in your head. Get free from that teacher that told you wasn't going to be nothing. Get free from that. And stop using that as an excuse to be dysfunctional. All right? I just want to help y'all out. I cannot stand somebody that make excuses. I cannot. I can't stand it. People want me to be lenient all the time. AC, you ought to be lenient. You ought to, and I'm not saying don't show grace, mercy, and love. But what I'm saying is I'm tired of people making excuses on why they're dysfunctional. I can't stand it. Hey, Desiree. I can't stand a person to keep making excuses on why they are how they are. I can't stand a person, well, I wasn't like this. I didn't have this. Nobody showed me how to do this. Nobody this. Your ability to succeed is only as great as your ability to confront and own what hurt you. Bam. Y'all need to listen to what Jacoby just wrote. Read what he just wrote. Your ability to succeed is only as great as your ability to confront and own what hurt you. Y'all better listen to the man of God. Listen. You won't own the fact that you're hurting. You won't own the fact that you had a rough childhood. You won't own the fact that you were touched. You won't own the fact that you were abused. You won't own this stuff that happened to you as a childhood. So now you just choose. It's a choice. You just choose to live in dysfunction because you won't own the hurt that hurt you as a child. Some of us are living with childhood trauma, but the fact of the matter is we won't own up to it, so we just be dysfunctional. You going through anxiety because you won't own up to the hurt that happened to you when you was a child. Ain't nothing wrong with you. You just need to admit that your childhood hurt you. And when you admit that, you move forward as an adult and you take ownership. Take ownership of your hurt so you can heal. Some of us are not taking ownership of our hurt. We're covering up and we're blaming the people that hurt us. Listen, don't stop blaming the person that hurt you on why you're dysfunctional now. Hey, Ayana, stop blaming the person that hurt you on why you're dysfunctional now. Take ownership as an adult on why you are how you are so that you can heal from it. Your life is not in nobody else's hands but yours. So take ownership of your own life. Take ownership of your hurt. Take ownership of your childhood. Take ownership of your dysfunction, and so that you can move forward. So again, stop blaming your childhood hurt on your parents, on everybody else, and making that a reason why you're a dysfunctional adult. You're grown now. Take ownership.